Which of the following is not a branch of third part of maxillary artery? So if we just talk about the maxillary artery, it is basically divided into three parts. First is the first part where we have to remember 5 important names of the branches. Then we have the second part or the middle part of the maxillary artery where we have to remember 4 important branches. And then we have the third part where we have to remember 6 important branches. So for getting a very good hold on these branches of the maxillary artery, which is very important, I'll be giving you a mnemonic. So yes, for the first part of the maxillary artery, we have to remember a mnemonic, that is a mate. Then for the second part, we have to remember 4 important branches: makes, dinner, before, party. And then the third branch we can remember, actually there was a maid who generally used to make the dinner before the party, and once she started studying, she had a very too much interest in studies and she passed out the PGI exam. So that is how we can remember PGI, pass. A maid who used to make dinner before party, she studied and she passed out PGI. So we have to remember PGI, pass, right? Now if you see here that in the first part, A here is going to be your anterior tympanic branch, anterior tympanic branch. Then M is going to be your middle meningeal artery, middle meningeal artery. Then you have A here stands for the accessory meningeal artery. I here stands for the inferior alveolar artery, inferior alveolar artery. And D here stands for the deep auricular artery, the deep auricular artery. Same way, we'll read about the second part. Makes, M here stands for the mesenteric branch. D here stands for the deep temporal branch. B here stands for the buccal branch. And P here stands for the pterygoid branch. Same way, the third part we have to remember. P here stands for the posterior superior alveolar branch or the artery. Then we have the greater palatine artery. I here stands for the infraorbital. P here stands for the pharyngeal branch. A stands for the artery to pterygoid canal, and yes, S of course stands for sphenopalatine. It stands for sphenopalatine. It should be palatine, right? So if we go back to the question and we read that we have to find out which is not a branch of the third part of the maxillary artery. To remember the third part of the maxillary artery, we have to remember PGI, pass, right? P here stands for posterior superior alveolar artery. G is for greater palatine artery. Now this is the greater palatine, it is in option. I here stands for the infraorbital, and yes, infraorbital is also in option. Then we have the P here stands for the pharyngeal artery. A again here stands for the artery to pterygoid canal, and S stands for sphenopalatine. So yes, sphenopalatine is also here. So the one which is excluded here is the supraorbital artery. Actually, infraorbital artery is a branch of the third part of the maxillary artery, not the supraorbital artery. That's why the answer is going to be your first option, that is supraorbital artery.